Hello guys, and welcome back to another Black Desert video. So for today I'm going to be talking about things that new players should do during and after the season. Now most new players I've played with and personally have in my circle have told me that they kind of got lost on what to do in BDO, as it kind of like gives everything out in one platter, and especially seeing some of the streamers and all, they see the end game already. So I kind of decided to give some tips and tricks on what to do to progress as a new player and suggest some paths that they could take. So just to note that this is entirely up to you, and none of these are mandatory for progress at all, and always play at your own pace so that you avoid burnouts. So the first thing I want newer players to understand is that this game loves brackets, and one example is the AP bracket table. So you get additional AP depending on where you are at the current AP bracket. So you can see I'm at 245 on my current setup for this character, and it gives me 48, which is kind of not impressive. But if I set it up that I would be at 265, then what would happen is that it would increase exponentially, almost 3 times. It's at 122, and that is a big jump in AP damage. So what you can do is kind of like chart how you would get to the next bracket. That's why you see veteran players happy that there's going to be an additional 1 AP, 2 AP, and that is the reason why. It's because the bigger your AP is at sheet, which is this one, then the higher the AP bracket is. So for example, if I equip again that accessory and I land at 295, which is the bracket of 293 to 296, then I get 174 additional AP. The next one is completing the main story quest line, and this is common for MMO, but for BDO, one of the things that they did in the past is that you cannot finish the Odraksha quests without finishing the Kama Sylvia 1 and 2, and that is kind of scary too, because one of the things that's going to be released is the snow region, and just to be sure that you're not barred out of any content, then you should complete those quests, and there's a fair amount of good rewards from it. You're not going to get any strong items from it, except for the cannon artillery gear, which is very useful for the beginners, and also the suggested quest line. So there are adventurer supports that you should do, so you could get more inventory space, get the loyal companion. So for example, you don't want to buy anything from the pearl item, you could use these ones. And the good thing about this one is that the squawkies or the birds gives knowledge percentage bonus, and this is very effective when you're trying to get your ecology that gives energy, and also a bonus item drop rate, which is very useful end game when you are trying to get the treasure or the artifacts. So the next one is totally optional, and it's really up to the player if they choose to do this, and this is a totally AFK activity, but there's some limiting factors. So 500,000 silver fishes can be caught in these events, and there are also dailies that are available in these events. Now the problem with this one is that it's limited by your inventory, and when you're beginning fishing, you cannot throw out or discard fishes through auto fishing. So you have to reach a certain level of fishing. So for example, professional 1, so you can discard automatically the green fishes, artisan 1 to discard the blue ones, and then at master 1 you can discard the yellow fishes, so that you could concentrate on just catching these kois or like the other 500,000 silver fishes. Because if not, then what would happen is your inventory will fill up, your character would stop fishing, and it's not really efficient. But leaving it overnight with you discarding even just the blue fishes at 192 inventory, then you could catch a lot of these kois. For example, I am at 95 when I left and came back. So this is one good thing to explore early, as it does takes time for you to level up your current fishing. And then currently this is my alt fisher, and she's at Gur 5, and that also gives you kind of like a small bonus of catching a prize fish at 1%. And then the harpooning, it doesn't matter much because like they haven't released the harpooning events yet that they did in the past, where you can catch 1.7 million giant manta rays. And an additional benefit of fishing is that this is kind of like a good source for Lilith's petals, which can be used to be exchanged for sealed fairy wings that could be exchanged for fairies. And you can see that fairies are fairly important in the game, as they're able to give you skills such as the fairy steers, which resurrects you without losing XP, the fairy stab at 25% additional weight, and miraculous cheer, which is basically your autopots for your character. So BDO recently updated the daily scrolls, but there is one scroll that I recommend new players to do to gain a lot of enhancement material, and you can also sell this outright to buy more gear. And that is the Soundel Siege Captain. All you have to do is call your Black Spirit, go to recurring at the very bottom, select out this one. So we tried to compare it with the TTM one and the Soundel Siege Captain, and we kind of like, proven in a way that the Soundel Siege Captain really gives out more rewards. And as you can see on your screen, like, once you select that one, you have an option to select between the orange one and the awakening one. So the normal one, like, you could do this solo, and the other one you have to do it in a party because it would take like long and it's kind of like grueling. So the good thing about the awakening is that your other party members would get memory fragments, the stones, but not the bundle. But like, that adds up a lot. And in my group we tested over 120 and it made us billions. So this is available daily, as you can see over here. And all you have to do is accept this one, and after you exit out in the Black Spirit, you could call him again and he would give you that reward to select with. So we're gonna try and do 5 of the normal boss scrolls, so I can just show you how easy it is. So it can be done with the Oasis gear, or even just like your your Tuvala gear at Tri or Tet, if you choose to do so, or if that's your only option. There's not really much difference, and you would get memory fragments drops and blackstone armors and weapons, as well as hunter seals that you could exchange for more stones or sharps and hearts. So on here we're gonna be opening up the bundles that we've gotten to kind of like gauge and see how much you could get in a 5-day activity on this one. So let's go ahead and open up these ones. So as you can see, we got a lot of memory fragments that we could use for fixing our gear when we're enhancing, or we could just like sell it outright. And this is just about 90 to 100 million, and also the stones for enhancing. So this is the one that we did with 121 awakened Soundel scrolls, and you can see that there's hundreds of memory fragments, and then also hundreds of the blackstone weapons and armor. And I was lucky enough to get 4 of the fine accessory box. So this is definitely worth it. You do it every day as much as you can, and this would really reward you in the long run for your enhancement materials, or just selling it outright again for market progress. Recently, BDO added an Old Moon guild manager named Jatina, and she would be giving you life skill quest or monster kill quest, and would reward you the Burning Moonlight Blackstone powder. Now this one is kind of pricey, but I recommend new players to do it now, so you could get 180 of these ones, and that is the amount needed to enhance one of the accessories that she would be offering you. But I recommend getting the ring, since it has the highest AP of all of the ones that she would be giving. And this would be very helpful for you, as pen accessories in this game is ridiculously expensive and hard to get, especially when you want to try and enhance your own. I currently have 2, and it cost me to have negative in terms of in terms of calculations on profit, and I highly do not recommend it. So if you could get this one daily, and all you have to do is talk to her, go to the quest, and pick one that is most easy for you. So currently for me, what I do is I have an alt that go and tames wild horses, because I'm going for a T10, and this is the one that is very efficient for me. Or if you choose to decide to, for example, if you're doing a pot grind and you want to, do the Roneros one, you can do the Tooth Fairy Forest, and so on and so forth. So it's totally up to you, but I recommend to start now. Pick the one that's easiest for you, depending on your time, and this would serve you in the long run as you would be getting your pen accessory. The next one is the adventure logs, and all you have to do is hit escape, go to adventure, and go to the adventure log bookshelf. Now these are the logs that once you complete certain objectives, it gives you some stats and rewards. And one thing that really stands out on this one is the AP and DP ones. So these are a sheet, and this would help you hit the next bracket for your gear, especially late end game where 1 AP or 2 AP is the difference between hitting the next bracket or not. And this also gives you the permanent enhanced chance. So if you are, a fan of enhancing and you do want to gamble a little bit, this kind of gives you that additional fail stack. And this is very helpful when you're trying to push for more higher and higher stack. And lastly, like the Kafras records and some of these ones too give Kafra stones that you could sell or you could use for your pen gear if you do have one. But if not, and you're just a beginning player, then you could sell them off for better gear. This next one is fairly easy, and that is the Dark Rifts, and it's located over here at the helmet icon, and sometimes the black spirit pops out to remind you that you have a Dark Rift. And these drops, some of the boxes that gives accessories that you could sell directly or you could use for your pen accessory quest and getting the Yona fragments. Also, some of these ones drops a huge amount of Ancient Spirit Dust, which you can use to sell and buy better gear, or you could Kafras your pen armors or weapons if you do have them at this point. Then this definitely helps. And make sure that you're doing all of these ones, as there is a certain timer for them to reappear, and they would not stack if you just left them over there. So you have to defeat them in order for them to respawn. This one is my favorite, and be lazy like me and create a farm that only have magical hot peppers. So BDO has a lot of complicated aspects, and this is one thing that I want to keep simple. So what I do is once you have 100 CP available, you could go over to Favliano over here at Heido and get some strong fences, and you could get these ones. So these consumes 10 slots in your placement. So if you go over here, you can see that on top the garden usage is 10 out of 10, and it's just one plant. All you have to do is get some hot pepper seed and plant them and breed them again and again up until you get the magical hot peppers and plant them in. And all you have to do is just make sure you prune them regularly, get them to 100%, and then breed them. And you could see that you would be getting these ones that you can later convert into fodder, and that is over here, the stone tail fodder. So the good thing about this one is that if you're trying to get a T9 horse, which is like a dream horse, then this would be really helpful for you, especially if you want to go to the Pegasus route, or you could go ahead and sell them. The good thing about this one too is that the seeds is 505,000 if you choose to sell them. So if you do have extra while breeding and you kind of get for example this one, then that's an automatic profit for you, aside from the byproducts you're getting for the stone tail fodder. So this only takes a few minutes a day, and no real hassle of going 5 plants or 10 plants in one farm, just going over one for one farm. So this one is kind of like a general advice for newer players, and that is to focus on one goal at a time. And BDO throws a lot of events at you that forces you to do things, but sometimes those does not contribute to your goal. So for example, one of the projects that I did recently was to build 3 Karaks. I now have the Valor, the Volante, and the Advance, and now currently trying to build up the balance in the near future. So this one didn't contribute anything to my AP or my gear score, or even my training for the T10s, preparing for the Dooms. So I was able to do this just because, like, I was focusing on this one. Or if you are casually playing, then you could spread around your time, but try to accomplish the one that would give you the achievement, because as BDO grows, it gives you more things to do, and it kind of like forces you to do everything at once, making it a job. So that just like my personal opinion on things. So but if you find something that you enjoy, stick to it, and you would progress more if you're enjoying playing the game rather than thinking of it as a chore. And for this last section is BDO has changed a lot, and you can now progress through the market. So gone are the days that you have to wait and bid for certain items. A lot of these ones are just sitting in the market. So for example, I am in need of a Corsair Black Star. It's just sitting over here, 7 of them at 11.8 billion, and I could just sell everything that I have, not everything, but the valuable things that could bring me this money, and there I have the Black Star. I don't have to worry about enhancing, as for me, for example, one of my Black Stars that I'm enhancing to TET has failed 27 times due to bad RNG. So I have the stacks, but I really don't need it, so it's easier for me to buy. And then the other thing is that it's just not like the main weapon, it could be your sub weapon. A lot of the Kudums are just lying at lowest, at min listed prices. And then also like the Awakening Black Star, you could see that a lot of them are just sitting over there if you do want to buy it. 3.4 billion, 13.4 billion is fairly cheap. And not just that, like Tovala accessories from season just gives you up until like try. But over here, if you do want to get a little boost, then you could buy off of the market at a low price of 4.7, which is very attainable now with all of the events that are happening and so much Caphras being thrown at us by PA. And speaking of Caphras, they are increasing, and the recent update that increased the prices of the Caphras allows you to sell more Caphras at a higher price. So just keep that in mind when enhancing or trying to do a project on the side. So make sure that you are looking over here too before you waste your money on some stuff. So for example too, for anything related to Manos, you could go over to the armor and functional clothes, and you could also buy it from here. So if you want to cook, there is 6 sitting Manos cook clothes over here, and even like if you don't want to spend too much, then there's 5 sitting. So there's a lot of things that you could buy over here that would really help you progress. Even Pen Manos Lumbering Axe is just now sitting at min price in the market. So this may change in the future, but this is something you have to really consider. I know I have used the consider term multiple times, but I've seen a lot of players spend like 20 billion on enhancing, but they could just have bought everything over here. They were so concerned of the name, and one of those ones is me, because I tried to enhance my own Pen Crescent Ring and my Valtara, which I got the name on it, but I lost about like 17 billion in profit or materials on those ones. So be very careful on deciding on if it's in the market. Just go with the market. So there we have it, guys. Like, there's so many items that I wanted to cover, but it would require hours and hours of video that we might cover in the future. But then again, just a reminder that BDO is always changing, and there's balances that are coming in soon, so make sure to keep up to date on that one too. And I hope that this has helped someone out there. Make sure to like and subscribe if you have enjoyed the video and would want to support the channel. And if anything that you would want to get discussed, is not part of over here, please feel free to leave a comment and I'll make sure to read up on that one. So thank you guys again for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.